Hello, hello. Welcome to the Strong Network podcast. Strong, strategic, talented, resilient, optimistic, necessary. And with all that, let's go global. If not the world, at least your world. Welcome to the Strong Network podcast. My name is Dr. Carla Michelle, and today's title is Breaking Up with the Life You Had. Breaking up with the life you had. You know, there's a lot of times we don't look at, I'm going to say, employment and whether you're laid off or you're looking to transition or you are under disciplinary action, something like that. But in business, we don't look at it as a breakup, right? We more look at it as whatever it is, laid off, fired, whatever comes with that. But it is like a breakup. I really feel like it is like a breakup because we go through the same emotional roller coaster that happens in a breakup, right? There's that anger, there's that grief, there's that depression. It's a whole cycle that we go through. So I want to just give you a couple of tips, 4-5 tips on breaking up with the life you had when it comes to your profession or even, when it comes to your personal life. This could also just carry over if you utilize it in a way that fits, right? Because breaking up is hard to do. So my first point is understanding and embracing the change. When we think about a breakup, we don't always anticipate it, but we can always feel it, right? Don't you know when a breakup is going to happen? It's going to happen. You kind of feel like the energy is different. Something's going on. There's a lot more pressure. Things are just not as smooth as you thought. And then you have to understand at that time, it is time for you to recognize that change is evident. Change could come. Now, maybe nothing happens. But then if you're feeling it, either there's something in you going on where you know you're either done with this job, this position, this person, and you're ready to like, you know what, something's not hitting, but you're recognizing it, this time to move, then it's time to at least start thinking about what your move is going to look like. So that is your first point, is to recognize that there is a need for change. There is a need for change. If you're feeling it, or you're just going through the motions at your job, that your performance is more about pleasing and not about providing your skill set. It's more about kind of just holding on to that paycheck, because that's where we get caught, right? Is that money. That money has such a powerful thing because what? It pays the bills, or it helps you invest, or it helps you help people, but it's that money that we find that it's difficult to hold on to. So anticipate and recognize that change is coming, because it is very obvious when you're listening to what's happening inside of you. The second point is, I want to go on. Don't remain stagnant. I really want to say that. And don't panic, because you can also panic when you're starting to feel that something is different or something's shifting, if it's happening outside of you. When it's you who's shifting, when it's you ready to embrace change and it's time for a breakup. I remember when I was transitioning from working for someone to working for myself, it was this feeling of, I just can't do this anymore. And I started crying and going in a break room and just I felt it was very uncontrolled tears coming out. For what? There was nothing going on. There was nothing bad. It was still happening, but it just wasn't fitting anymore. And it hit. And that was like in January of that year. And I didn't actually transition out until June. But in that process, I was preparing for that breakup. I was preparing for that next move, but I also had to be okay with the uncertainty that I felt. And how I did that was I did read books. Yes, I did, on how to take the leap. And some of the ways that people took a leap was not the way I took a leap. It was not the way. I didn't have all the money saved up. I had money saved up, but not as much as they were saying that I would need. I had about a good 90 days, really solid plan. But 8 years later, we're still here. We're still doing it. We're still scaling and doing the things that I love doing. But at that time, I saw it, but I didn't feel it. And because I didn't feel it, I had to do the work to feel it. So that's what I read. It turned into, what did I say? And when I felt like, when my stomach was had butterflies and probably bees and mosquitoes and whatever animal that flies, birds in my stomach just going around, I had to get my mind together. And we'll talk a little bit about that growth mindset. But I had to embrace the uncertainty. And I had to recognize that I couldn't be stagnant, because I gave my notice. So notice was in. And even though I was so thankful that they continue to ask me if this is what I really wanted to do, I appreciate that, because that made me know that I still had a cushion, but I was really ready to go. And every day that I was doing the job that I was doing, I did it to the best that my ability. I don't believe I held back, but maybe I came in and started coming in a little late and stuff, but it wasn't a total detachment. I didn't feel that I was giving up or not delivering, because there's a lot of things that I still delivered and I felt I delivered well. But it is so true that I had to recognize that need for change. And I also had to embrace the uncertainty that comes with changing the path of my life. My personal development was different. I remember doing a lot of courses, in-person courses that helped me come outside of my normality, things that were normal to me, things that would push me, like climbing a wall with no ladder, with just people, or doing some things that you had to use your mind, that it was, if I could tell you some of the stuff that I felt a privilege to learn and to do, and that I thought I was this, pretty much this, this woman who could do anything in my head. I don't know. But when it came down to it, it was some scary stuff that we did. But it was so, I know that helped me a lot to where I am today, and to have that boldness. I probably need to go again, because that boldness, I think I've decreased some, got little, how you get a little, you do all that and you get a little comfortable. But I still push. But yeah, that's some stuff that I really put myself into situations that made me have to think out of the box, think out of the norm, and not follow status quo in what I was going to do. There was no one who really showed me the ropes, like every day, but there was people who were generous enough to share what they've learned and what they've done in the coaching industry. And I appreciate that, but I still had to do the work. I still had to put things together. I still had to, what I was learning or grasping from people, I still had to follow through. I still had to get clients. I still had to sell, right? But embracing and understanding what change means is what helps. What helps. You know that there is a possibility that you may no longer have your job because of layoffs, and this time of year it happens, and then they start rehiring in spring. It's like that budget thing. Embrace it. Embrace it the best way you can. All right. And then reframe the perspective of it. Because growth comes from pain. Growth comes from being uncomfortable if you utilize the opportunity. I grew so much before I leaped, during the leap, and then I continue to grow. Now I have no choice but to grow. But there's no plan B. There's no plan B. It's just a constant understanding that this is a new experience and everything is going to feel new. I need new skills, or I need to sharpen some skills. And I find out I have skills that actually all the jobs that I've had, even thinking about, I used to deliver papers. Now I'm grown here. Deliver papers. I've sold service contracts. I what else did I do? I was a hostess at a restaurant. What else that I think is interesting? Customer service. I worked at a bank. I worked for a church. Um, People, so a lot of the things that I did, I cleaned houses. So a lot of the stuff that I've done has helped me, I feel, do business today, do life today. So the new skills, the insights, and then the opportunities. Reframe your perspective of the opportunities that can come your way. I've shared my crazy kind of things that I do, like opening the door and welcoming opportunity in, actually writing it out, believing for it, saying it with my mouth, prayer for most part, it's number one, talking to God about it. And then not just talking to God about it and then doubting, talking to God about it and believing. Because there is no way. There was like, why am I going to think about losing when the only option that I have is to win? And that is the only option you have. If you are going through a time where you're breaking up with the life you had or have, your only opportunity is to win. And how do we find those moments that we only say we win? It can feel like you lost. It can look like you're losing, but you can still say, no, 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 no. I win, I win, I win. And that takes me to the second point, which is emotional resilience. Emotional resilience. I'm telling you, emotional resilience, because your girl, I could cry. I don't cry all the time. But and I don't know, that's not a brag. I think it's not also, I think that's a burden to hold in tears and frustration. Um, I could put myself as this, strong, and the other definition, not my strong, as strategic, talented, using my talents, being resilient, remaining optimistic, knowing that I'm necessary, and going global with that mindset. There are times that just holding things in and not feeling have been a disservice to me, whether it's the tension in my body. I didn't get many headaches, but not sleeping well at times, that didn't serve me. The best thing I could ever do for emotional resilience is to release as often as I can the buildup. Songs get me, words get me, reading, hearing someone else's story gets me. It helps with that release. And I don't look at someone else's story as that's them and that's not me. I can't do that. I look at that story as that's them and that's me too. That's how I think. Because why would I think, I mean, if it can happen, it can happen. If it happens for them, it can happen for me. So emotional resilience, get some support, therapy, coaching. Emotional resilience comes with understanding that you have to cope with disappointments. You have to cope with disappointments. This life is not always peaches and cream. It is a life that you have to stand up against, sometimes just yourself and the things that you don't want to do and should be doing. That's emotional resilience, to sit there and say, okay, wait, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to rest or to freak out or whatever. 30 minutes is kind of long for freaking out, but I wouldn't recommend that. But, dealing with that heartbreak, dealing with that hurt, dealing with it. There's a song like, only Ty Tibbet, I think it is, only one night though. You don't go past, you can't take it too long. You can't take what is happening, the disappointments, the demotions, the layoffs, the changes in your business, the things you have to change in relationships. You cannot keep harboring them, ruminating. It's just not good. It doesn't even feel good. So the other thing is making sure that you're taking care of yourself. How do you take care of yourself? Well, on Fridays, I have on my calendar, celebrate. Celebrate. So celebrate means I'm either going to go have lunch somewhere cool, somewhere nice, somewhere different, or I am going to celebrate at home. There's something, I don't care, put on some music, dance around, get some champagne, pop the bottle, find a way to celebrate. I celebrate that you made it through the week. That's it. Celebrate that whatever has happened, that God answers some prayers. Celebrate a win, small wins, that you made a phone call that was difficult, but you made it. Celebrate that you closed out a project that without any supports, and they're deciding to lay you off. Celebrate that you got up every day and you turned on your computer and you logged in to your company site and you did your work, even though they have not been treating you well. Celebrate. So find a way to prioritize a way to take care of yourself. Quietness is good. Silence. I've done a lot of silence this year, just being silent, putting the timer on and having just silence. At first it's hard because you're like squirrel, but it's just to close your eyes and have a moment just silent. I'm not necessarily praying, it's just silence. Try it may work. So prioritize yourself, develop some type of routine that works for you. Another one that is good with emotional resilience and self-care is to set those boundaries. Especially if you are dealing with mistreatment in the workplace, set the boundaries. What boundaries for yourself? Like, you're only going to take so much and you're going to excuse yourself, or you're going to not take it at all, or you're going to figure out how to defeat the thoughts that are coming and trying to take you out. Set that boundary. You can set a boundary of, I am not going to walk around sad. I'm setting that boundary. That's not how I'm going to show up today in my life. Stop. You talk to yourself, stop. We're crossing boundaries here. Stop. No. Yes, this is a breakup with the life I've had, but I'm setting a boundary. This sadness, this depression, this doubt, no, you ain't coming up in here. No, it ain't working. Because it ain't helping me think of some other ideas that I need to have to get me where I need to go. So set your boundaries. So first one is understanding, embracing change. The second is emotional resilience and taking care of yourself. The third point is focus on reinventing your personal and professional identity. Now, what does that look like? Setting a new outcome. What it's an opportunity for a new outcome for your life. If you've been laid off, what is the next thing you want to do? What is the thing that you've already been talking about that people know that you say? I was talking to someone this past weekend, and they were talking about transitioning from their current position, but they didn't know what they want. The conversation before that, though, they were sharing about all the stuff that they do on the side. Some great stuff, 3 great things that they were doing and focusing on. And in this conversation, as they were just talking to me and saying they don't know what to do next with, I'm like, well, you just shared these other things that you are doing that are amazing. Monetize them. And the look on this person's face was more like, ooh, I never connected that dot, right? So where do you need to connect the dot in your life? Where in in what you've been thinking about, things that you've been wanting to create, things that you've been wanting to do, places that you've been wanting to go, people that you've been wanting to meet. This is an opportunity to set a new goal. I don't really want to say goal, but setting a new focus. A new focus. Because if you focus on something different, it helps. It helps. You know, like that saying, to get over someone, you get under someone else. Well, this is almost like that, but this is more business, you know, like to get over the job or the position or things that are happening, focus on something else. Get underneath the opportunity to expand where you are and what you can do. And the other one is, you know, we talk about the network and who you know. I had a client who was very, 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 very good at reaching out to their network. Very good. I am talking like everybody in their network heard from this person. And it was about, hey, this is what's going on with me. This is what I have to offer. If you know of any opportunities, please let me know. I am with urgency looking for another position. And this person did it and got a lot of interviews, quite a few interviews from doing that, connections. So utilize your network in the way that you should. And you're like, well, I never really kind of talked to this network. I never talked to the people on LinkedIn or whoever, wherever you're connected, organizations or associations that you're connected with. Well, you know, let's start. I'm not going to beat you up that you didn't do it, but let's start. Get out there. And then let it be a practice that you keep in touch, that you're not just, you know, hey, I need you, but it's more like, hey, I'm here and maybe someone needs you one day. So keep that open, keep your network working and expand the net. Get to know who knows who. Introduce yourself more often through the year, throughout LinkedIn, if that's what you use. Go to these meetings. Go to these organizations that you pay money and have joined, these associations, and you never go to the meetings. Go to the meetings and expand and build your network. So, and then another opportunity is to strengthen the skills and talents that you have, or to take on a new skill. Like, what do you want to do? Can you volunteer somewhere? Sorry, my watch keeps hitting. Can you volunteer? Can you learn something? Can you facilitate something? Can you utilize, can you go into your alma mater and teach something? Or can you create something? What can you do that helps you strengthen a talent or a skill, or even helps you think about taking an online course, certification? Some people, I have one client who's actually going back to school, and that is because they've discovered something else. They were going through interviews, and they work for a great company, and they were going through interviews and nothing was really matching. And this has been probably over now about 6 months of interviews. And in that, and I'm going to call it rejection, right? In the breaking up with the life that you have, that rejection, they were able to discover what they really wanted. Because sometimes we go after positions based on pay or title, but we don't necessarily go after a position that really, really brings completion. That's kind of deep, but you know, joy to us. And this person is discovering something new and now wants to get some more backing with a master's program. So pursue something new. This is an opportunity. If you've been laid off and you have a severance package, or you're still at where you are and maybe things are perfect still, go and get a certification, have your company pay for it. Is there anything that your company offers even to help you? So say you're having some work-related issues at work, and your manager or boss, or however you call them, look and see, is there some support? Employee services, is there something there? If you look into what can you utilize during this time? Can you seek out a mentor, a champion, or a sponsor? What can you do so that you can not just focus on the breakup or the potential breakup or what's about to happen next? We can focus on, focus on the bigger picture, the wider picture. And we think about focusing on the bigger picture, it helps us move to our fourth point, and that is maintaining a growth mindset. I tell you, I don't think that I would be able to do a lot of what I do or even live life without a growth mindset, really taking in that I never lose, I only learn. That helped me so much, because if I thought about every time I lost or felt like it was a loss, I could dip. And we don't have all the time, we don't have time to dip. There's times that we take care of ourselves and we deal with what's going on, but I'm talking about the hits can come so fast that if we take them all as a loss and not as a learning experience, it is not good. It could be not good. So take what's happening in your life. What lessons are you able to pull from them? What lessons can you learn? What is your manager saying about you? What is it when you're sitting in your one-on-ones they're asking you to do? What are they applauding? And then what are they saying it's an opportunity? Listen to that. And then go out and find it. Go out and find how you can strengthen that opportunity, which is a weakness. I'm just trying to be positive now, but it's an opportunity to strengthen what needs to be strengthened. If you don't like the way you interview and you're about to start interviewing, strengthen your interview skills. I had a dear friend. She was about to go to the podium and introduce someone. And the work that she put in for maybe 3 to 4 minutes was amazing. And plus she was able to memorize the whole talking points that she had, because I could only assume at one time she's messed up, and this time now you will never see her not nail it. And I'm standing there with her and she's going over, I'm just going to call it a speech, and it wasn't really, but she's going over what she's about to say. And she's nailing it. Maybe a couple of things were off, right? Nailing it. And she was nailing it. She said, okay, I'm going to do it again. And I'm just standing there with her. And I'm just like, okay, giving some notes on different things. And when she got up there, my gosh, the pace, the cadence was right. You can hear her clearly. When she sat down, she said she was nervous, but you couldn't hear it in her voice, in her delivery. She even ad-libbed a little bit, and how she moved from one point of her introduction to the next was just smooth, like she nailed it. So what do you need to do to in your eyes, nail these interviews? What do you need to strengthen? How do you get a friend? Get somebody to listen to you and to mock interview you, to see how you do it, to see how maybe they don't tell you the questions they're going to ask you, but yet you're able to see how you respond to the unknown, right? So utilize your team. That's a part of your network too, right? Utilizing your team, but learning from your experiences, learning what your opportunities to strengthen the weaknesses and how it can help you expand and do better than you've ever imagined, right? And also the other one is staying, open to opportunities. Stay open to new opportunities. Not just the things you think about. For those people, you're set. Oh, I've already thought about it. I'm going to go ahead and do these things. But there's other people who are still waiting to understand what they want, they can do, even though they know they need to do something, right? So, what is it that you can be open to? What new possibility? What new possibilities are out there? What is it that someone may mention that sparked your interest? Is it a new career? Is it a totally new career? And I have also learned, I don't care what your degree is, people don't always go and work whatever focus their degree was on. They're able to find jobs that are outside of their focus for those 4 years or 2 years or however long you've been in school. But find what works and stay open to new opportunities, no matter where you are. Even if there's no problems with your job, stay open to opportunities. You never know. Now these recruiters call and they are like, saw you on LinkedIn and they're interested. That's an opportunity. You never know what it could bring to you. If anything, it gives you practice on interviewing. So maintain a growth mindset. See where you can always expand your mind, expand your talent, expand your weaknesses to a not so weak stance, and think about how much more you can add to the next place you're going, to the next opportunity. Right? So when you think about growth mindset in a one-on-one relationship, a romantic relationship, you never lose, you only learn. Each relationship can get better and better. It can still grow. You have to think that way as well. It could, I'm at Trader Joe's the other day, and the checker is going through a breakup. And she says, she's just kind of talking to everybody. You can see it's really been hard for her. And she says to me, my therapist has me trying to find joy in my day and I have to write it down and I don't have joy. I'm like, I get it, right? And I was like, go girl, own that you ain't got no joy. I said, but you're talking to the wrong person. You can find some joy. She goes, well, I was married before. It didn't hurt this bad. It didn't hurt this boy. This hurts. And she just kept talking about it. And she was talking to everybody. And I was thinking, it's going to be hard to get over this if you are talking about it all the time. And then her coworkers were like, yeah, like basically like save me. No. So, but she just kept regurgitating her hurt, regurgitating her disappointment, regurgitating how hard it was over and over and over. I mean, I wasn't even there that long, but it was constant. Even when saying, hey, you got to think about what else is out there for you. When you think beyond this circle here, this pain here, there is so much more out there. There has to be something better for you, for him too, for you too. Imagine if you let it go and you just allow a moment of thinking like, well, what is on the other side? Right? So she thanked me, which she didn't have to. I think she did say, you know what, I do have to stop talking about it, but it's just so hard. Now, things are hard. Breaking up with the life you have is hard, especially if you don't want to do it, especially if you didn't call for it, especially if it caught you off guard. My oldest daughter said today she was always open for new positions, right? But she said, I've learned that you just don't stop. You got to keep looking. She's employed, but you just don't stop. You got to keep looking. I said, that's right. Stay open for the opportunities, because there's jobs out there that have different types of benefits that you may enjoy, that not just pay more, but the culture can be different. You can be in an environment of growth and opportunity to be supported and appreciated. There's a lot of different things out there that if we just stop focusing on how hard it is, and that it took so long for me to get a job before, I don't know if I have that in me to do it again. Well, you do. You do have it in you to do anything that you need to do to be successful, if you focus on being successful, and whatever your definition of success is. But it is not about focusing on the loss. It is not about focusing on the breakup. It is not about focusing on the life you had. It's about the opportunity that lays on the other side of the breakup. There is a couple of podcasts that I've had that I wanted to recommend. One of them, and this is like an 8-minute one, and this is season 501, and it's Close to the Cliff. Close to the Cliff. That's episode 501. That's season 5, right? And the other one is 8 life hacks to increase your life. And that is in season 4, episode 428. And the other one is I had a guest on, and it is, never count yourself out. And this is one of the guest speaker here, and she shares her life journey and all that she went through physically, financially, and now, yes, yes. In fact, in a lot of season 3, there's a lot of interviews that I've done. In season 4, I think there's some more, but more, or 2 and 3, I have a lot of interviews. If you go back to season 2 and 3, you will find that, whether you're on iTunes or Spotify. There may be here on YouTube as well. If you go to YouTube, the Strong Network podcast on YouTube, they should have all of those on there as well. But you got to go back to season like 2 and 3. But never count yourself out is a very popular one. I encourage you to look at that season 3, episode 316. All right. We've come to an end. I've got to break up with you. Breaking up with the life you have. I hope you've been encouraged. Please subscribe and put on that notification bell if you're listening to me on YouTube. Also subscribe if you're listening on iTunes, and give me a rating, please. It does help with algorithm. Thank you. This is Dr. Carla Michelle, and I will see you next time. Take care.